Hey guys, Darren at Mounts Customs here again. Got another week at the shop, coming off of last week where we went to Tannehill. We're going to just go through the shop a little more detailed and show you what we've got going on in the shop this week, and where we're at in some of the cars that we're doing and stuff like that. So I'm going to walk through there and go a little more detailed on the progress of some of the vehicles. All right, here we go. We got quite a few cars going on this week, and some new cars in too, but we'll go through here real quick. Let's see, over here we got, this is the 58 low-light Gias chassis that's about halfway done. So we, on some of these builds that don't call, the customer doesn't require everything brand new, we go through and rebuild a lot of it, like the beam. We'll take the beam completely apart, disassemble it, clean it, check the springs, put all new seals and all that on it. If the kingpins need to be sent out, we'll send them out to be done. Spindles, anything needs to be done up front, check steering box and all that. Usually put new tie rods on them, at least ends and ball joints, upper and lower if it's a ball joint front end. Shocks, stuff like that. We'll go through all brakes. This one, the pans were actually solid, so we went through and cleaned them, and then we'll put our kill mat down. We use sound deadening and heat. Then we'll go back through and put all new cables, you know, brake lines, all that stuff through. So that's 58 low-light Gia. This is another Gia that we got in. We're starting on it. It's not a full restoration, but pretty close. We got a lot of paint issues. We're going to have body issues on this one. As you can see, we got some rust here. And it's going to be the old surprise Bondo situation. If you look at this car somewhere, telltale signs of things to come when we start taking her apart. Yeah, that's a real big sign right there. So yeah, we got some things on here, some issues, but you know, we'll get her together and put her back on the road. I talked about it a little bit a couple weeks ago in the first video we'll walk through. This one, this is going to be, we got lucky in the building here that we got, had these parts bins in it, and we kept them, and so this is all categorized used parts, some of the stuff that you can't find or we need a bunch laying around. So we'll take parts apart and get them put in there and starting to build that up pretty good. It's taking a little bit of time. We're getting there. Over here we have another Gia, 74 Gia pan that's waiting on some parts, but it's about 60% done. It's going full disc all the way around and stuff like that. Disc brake kits from Cool Ride Customs. So we'll see how that goes. Over here we have a 70 standard Beetle vert. Pretty cool. Just finished putting new feeder channels and supports in on both sides. Yay! They're just not finished yet, but they're in there. And then a new luggage tray. So we'll come back out here. So we just go through. I think we did some inner fender work on that one too, I think. Which, like I said, it's got to go to body after this, but we did do some inner fender, lower inner fenders. But we just put the doors back on after doing this work to make sure that they're close. So they're pretty close right there. As you can see, that's a pretty good body line. So that's just hanging it, not even adjusting it. So kind of happy with that, because this one, by doing both supports and both heater channels, it was basically two pieces of car. So if you remember, we had a couple jigs in here in the doorway welded up and a couple supports welded to keep the car together while we did all that, and this is where it came out. So it actually came out pretty good. Pretty happy with that, because you start cutting on convertibles, you have all kinds of problems. So that one's coming along good. We got our 67 Beetle over here that's just about done with all its rough metal and body work. It's going to go into finished body work. Same thing, we just hung the doors the other day, and we replaced heater channels on that side and did a bunch of other metal work on this side, and the door hangs pretty good. Just hang on there, so we're good there. I always hang everything, whether we did body work on it or not, fenders, doors, hood, deck lid, all that back on there before it ever goes to paint. So make sure everything fits on there and get it all lined up and adjusted before you have to go messing with it when it's already painted. You see the deck lid's already temporarily hung on there to set for alignment. So we'll do all that. We've got, that's actually my 63. Eventually I'll get to it, but there it is. We've got a 74 Ghia here too. It's ready to go to paint. It'll be going to paint soon. We got to line up paint. So a little backlog there, but we're working through them. This is our 73 Ghia, 73 thing. It's pretty much 99% done in rough metal. And actually it is done in rough metal now that I think about it, but it's going into body. So body work, finishing body work. Not to do a whole lot on it. Actually was in pretty good shape for 73 thing. But it'll get its finished body here. We'll do a little bit more body work on her, and then she'll go to paint, going back to a factory orange on this thing. The 73 Ghia over there, and it's going to go start getting restored here soon. 74 Ghia, it's about to go to blast. Had it disassembled, and its chassis is right over here, and they're working on it right now. So it needed pretty good amount of work. The pans were gone. So we went ahead and cut the pans out. We're going to put new pans on that. But this one, we took the beam completely apart. We're reassembling, putting new disc brakes up front. All new brakes here, all new brake lines, cables, all that stuff's going to go in here. New ball joints, all new bearings all the way around. You know, all the fun stuff. So that one's underway there. This is a 74 Super that we're trying to save the paint on, so we're going to see. This is one that's not a full restoration, but it was a garage car that we're trying to bring back and get running. So we're going to put it the motor all done on the test stand, and then we're going to go through all the mechanical stuff, and then we're trying to save that paint and just buff it out. There's a couple places I think we checked on it up here. They don't look too bad, so we're going to try our best to try to bring that back. If not, I guess we might have to paint it, but we're going to try our best. We've got motors lined up over here at our test stand. This is a Type 3 motor out of our Type 34 that we have over there. We'll see in a minute. But we got motors just lined up over here ready to go on the test stand. So we put them on the test stand, run them, check valves, all that stuff, and do it all on the test stand so we don't have to mess around. So it's a nice day out here today. It's only about 80, so the 90, 95 that it's been for the last couple of weeks. So going to the other side of the shop here, we've got another Super that we actually ordered some wheels from Smitty's Smoothies for. He made those wheels for us, and then the tire from Coker Tire. So shout out to them guys. We're fitting those now and getting them all adjusted out and set. So the chrome cap smoothies on there. And this car just came to us. It's a Meacham car. It was bought at Meacham Auction. We are actually going to go through the car and change a lot of it. So it has a motor in it now. Checking that motor and tranny out. Taking these wheels and tires off. Ripping the whole interior out. And doing a bunch of other stuff. There's a bunch of mechanical stuff to it. So you guys remember Zwitter. Zwitter's about done. It's going to go for some paint touch-up. We had some linkage problems on the motor that were carried over from the previous shop, but we're going to fix those. And then the Zwitter will hopefully finally be going home. We did get the Type 34 back. Right now it's undergoing chassis work. We're redoing the whole front area, beam, shocks, ball joints, tie rods, all that stuff. Rear, putting all the seals, brakes, all that stuff in the back. I went to paint, got its top painted, so it's black now on the top. So it's a Lotus white with a black top. This is a teak car, so it had a teak interior, which we're going back with. SoFi and Interiors are making that for us. They're pretty good at this Type 34 stuff, so we're going to stay with that. Our 74 thing, or one of our 74 things here, is back from paint shop, and it is getting color matched undercoating going on. And then this is what the camo, it's getting a camo wrap. So that's what the camo wrap's gonna look like. That's a sample door. It would be a camo wrap all the way around. So that's gonna look pretty good. So that's our 74 thing there. We got our 71/2 Super going on. It's getting a massive amount of electrical work. We're waiting on a couple parts that came in, some ignition parts and some turn signal stuff. It's going in there now, and of course we're waiting on a top still for it. We're kind of backed up on top, so we're waiting on a couple of them. We've got another Super here is getting a bunch of glass work, and if anybody ever worked on some of them door regulators, that one's giving us a whole bunch of problems, but we're going to work through it. We got another 73 Super Vert that is getting, we're waiting on the top for it right now also. It's getting a whole new wire harness in it, and a bunch of other little work, so it's waiting on a couple things. This chassis right here is off our 67 that we looked at earlier. So it's pretty much complete. Went through and did the whole beam, new tie rods, new stabilizer, pedal set, kill mat, starter, original motor and tranny, so we're going back with that, shocks, all that stuff. But it's been sitting here kind of waiting on its body to come back. And here's another 74 Super Vert. It's kind of in limbo mode, waiting on a couple parts. We got our 62 Vert standard. That's a pretty cool car. All this one's really waiting on is some LEDs that we got to put in, all LED lights. We'll get some of those from Texas Air Cool. They put a T4 bulb in there so it stays stock looking, and then the rest of them were just bulbs for the turn signals and the tail lights. Again, now we got motors lined up over here. We talked about a little last week. Got a Type 4 motor going there. We've got a Ghia, dual carb Ghia motor there. We've got another little motor in here hiding, ready to go in. We'll be putting those in soon. We've got chassis lined up like cordwood around here. They're all pretty much done. They're just waiting on their bodies to get their body work done. 4 motors and trannies. This 65 is obviously waiting on a tranny and a motor. I think the motor's here, we're waiting on the transmission still. This is the 65 over here. It's a semi-local car from just up the road in Tennessee. It's a 65 Beetle that was underwater for a little bit, but surprisingly the pans were phenomenal. The motor and the transmission, if you remember a while back we did a video, it's just they were totally seized up, locked together, and sand poured out of them when we finally got in the car. So we had to order a new motor and tranny for this one. Not 100% sure. We think we might be going back to just a patina look here, just a family car. I'm not sure if we're going to patina it and just keep this, or we're going to go paint her back to black. It's an original black. That's the original paint on the car. So pretty cool little 65. We got a little bit. We're going to do a new wiring harness and full new interior and stuff like that. Chassis already done. Got new wheels and everything waiting on it. So we got this Super here. We're waiting on a few things. It's going to be going home. It's actually for sale. Now the people that owned it, that were building it, decided they needed to sell it, so it's completely redone. Everything's pretty much new on it. Disc brakes all the way around. There are some things that stayed. The wheels came with it. New interior, new carpet. So if you want to, interested in buying this Super, like I said, it's got new headliner, new seats. The motor's not new, but it was refreshed. But all your seals and everything underneath, struts in the front, shocks in the rear, disc brakes all the way around, disc brakes in the front and drum in the rear, but the brakes are all new. So anyways, that car's for sale if you want to talk to us about it. Get us, hold us on the website. Got a 70 standard Beetle that we are waiting on a transmission for. Got the car all together and built. Test drove it a couple times. The only thing we didn't change was the motor and the tranny. The motor works fine, but the transmission gave out, locked up, wouldn't do nothing. So we had to get a tranny for this one. So got a transmission gearbox coming for that. We'll get that one going. We got this 73 bus over here, bay window hardtop, that we're doing a full interior. If you remember the first week video. This one, they were talking about paint because it was really faded. So we've gone through and buffed this paint out, used a good rubbing compound and cut it. And I think it looked kind of phenomenal. That's the original OG paint, and I thought it would be cool to bring it back. So we did it. We're going to see what the owner thinks. There are a couple spots that we're going to go and take care of. There's some rust there, so we're going to take this window out, which all the windows are coming out anyways because, you know, all new seals. And we're going to go ahead and repair that, and then probably paint this whole nose at least. And then at least the white part of the nose, but then we'll go back with new trim. We got the trim coming around. All the windows are going to get new seals, like I said. We're definitely getting new trannies so we can get that higher gear so this thing can move along better on the freeways, or at least the road. But then, like I said, let me go around to this side and we'll show you the interior. It's kind of ripped out because it's going to get an all new interior. There's an old wood grain type of setup. So yeah, we've got parts in here, but all the interior is ripped out. It's ordered to be here, except for the headliner. The headliner is actually kind of in phenomenal shape. So we're going to go back and get all this fixed up. It's going to go a gray interior, so we'll get that all in when it gets here. I think we're putting LED lights all the way around on this one and some other stuff, so we'll follow that. Yeah, like I said, there's a whole bunch going on here. There's a couple cars outside that are being worked on too. We got them pushed out while it's a nice day to work on it. Let's go check those two out and then we'll wrap this thing up. Kind of going along here, but we needed to talk about some of this stuff. So we come out here. We got another bay window bus over here that we got that new motor in for, but we're waiting on a clutch. So the clutch gets in here, we'll put the motor back in that thing, do some wiring, get it running, hopefully it fires up. We got this Westie right here that we are doing. We're not sure the whole scope of work yet, but we're obviously going to clean it up, get the motor running, do all the mechanical stuff, and then we may do some interior. We will be putting a new canvas top on it and stuff like that. But anyway, that's kind of what we got going on this week in the shop. A little of that. Out of this.